Hello there, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about managed agents. So let's get started. So, first, what's an agent, right? So, when you talk to Claude, like when you use Claude AI, it's like a chatbot, right? It's like a thinking collaborator. You ask it a question, come back with the answer. You ask another question, it comes back with the answer. But with agents, you describe your goal, and it comes back with the final outcome. It gets things done. All right. And the way it does it is the agent is essentially a harness, right? So it takes your request, it does the planning, the reasoning, the decomposition. It has a loop. Okay, it has access to tools, skills. It has access to maybe MCP connectors to get data, and then it decides how to orchestrate all this to come back with a final completed product or outcome for your request. So that's an agent, right? So that's important. Now, let's take a look a little bit a deeper dive. So basically, a agent is not a LLM. A agent is a software, a harness engine, right, which uses large language models to take your input and convert it to a final product. And the way it does it is it has access to tools. Okay, and when you define the agent, you can tell it, hey, this is the tools I want you to use. You can have custom tools as well. It has access to external data based on the type of agent, and you defined it. Okay, using MCP, you can say, hey, this is the data I need you to have access to. Now, the agent takes your request and breaks it up, it reasons over it, it plans, and then it may decide that, hey, to create the final outcome, it needs to break up your request into sub agents. Or you may even have your own defined sub agents, and you can tell it to use sub agents. And these sub agents will either execute it, some of them will in parallel, some consecutively, and the entire thing, right, the agent manages the entire thing, and it comes back to you with a final answer, with a final outcome. Okay, it could be a report, it could be some analysis, it could be a app, whatever. Now, a little bit more technical, right? So the large language model is the brain, right? The agent is the harness, right? Okay, it needs a sandbox to run, right? So it needs a computer to run. That's what it means. Now, sandbox meaning in Claude, right? Anthropic is gonna create a sandbox in the cloud for you, and that's where the agent will run. Okay, that's where the agent can execute tools, can execute scripts, can create further subagents. So the sandbox is important, and it's called the environment. I'm gonna show it to you. Okay, and now managed agent is on the right side. It has become very easy, right? All you do is you define your agent. I'm gonna show it to you. Okay, what is the desired outcome, what tools it has access to, okay, what MCP connectors it has access to, and all the credentials, and you define the environment, right? That's all you do. And then Anthropic handles everything else. It handles the security, the networking, the sandbox creation, the tokens inside outside. So it's really really powerful, right? In the past, you had to use the agent SDK, but the hosting was supposed to be, either AWS or Google or Azure, and you had to manage all that. You had to set up all that. You had to configure all that. Now that complexity is taken away from you. All right, so this is the theoretical part. Let's go to the demo. Okay, so let's take a look at a very simple demo, right? You first have to go to platform.cloud, sign up, and buy some credits. If you look over here, you will see managed agents. That's where you have all the options to create, configure, and run a agent. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I have created a very simple agent based on some templates which Anthropic provides, right? So what I've done is I've created an agent based on this template, deep researcher. So this agent basically it conducts a multi-step web research and then it synthesizes the information based on my request, right? So here is my agent, right? So if when you're gonna create an agent, you're just gonna go here and say use this template, and then you can start to change the system prompt and then start to configure the environment. I'll show everything to you, but this is how you do it. So now this is the agent. Let me just archive this. Okay, so this is the agent which I had created based on the template. Now it's very simple, right? It's a simple agent. System prompt, uh, what the agent is about, uh, some instructions on how to complete a task, and if you want, you can give some guardrails. You also define what tools it has access to, right? So right now I've given it tools, these tools. If you had skills, you can define what skills it has access to, right? So either you can edit and change the agent using JSON or YAML file, or you can use a guided prompt to, you know, modify the agent. So see guided edit. So here you can say, hey, can you add a new skill, or can you add a new tool, or can you change this? And and Claude will help you come up with the configuration for the agent. All right, so that is the agent. Now let's run it. Before you run it, right? It needs a, as I said, a agent needs a sandbox to run, and that sandbox is a virtual environment in the cloud. And that sandbox, right? You have to define what it's gonna look like, what access and what tools and what networking it has access to. So that's what you do over here, right? So I have created a environment configuration, right? And I'm telling it, hey, allow MCP server access. Okay, I could say, hey, this is a very confidential agent, so I don't want it to get access. I don't want it to have connectivity to the outside world, things like that, right? I could even say, hey, uh, this environment needs to have access to certain, PHP packages or subscripts or things like that. So that's everything is done over here. Now let's go and just run a session, right? So you can see, step by step how it's doing it. So I'm gonna say start session. Okay, so here it is. So it's gonna ask me what's the name of the session. I'm just gonna say uh, demo session, and I'm using the environment I have set up already. If you want, you can create a different environment, and then you can give it resource files as well, some PDFs or some documents. What it's gonna do is it's gonna take the files and copy them to to the sandbox in the cloud, right? So create session. So this is your debugger kind of thing, and then here you can give it a message. So that you can give it a you can give it a prompt for your for whatever your objective is. So I'm gonna say, so I'm saying, hey, get me the latest stock price of Microsoft, Google, and Apple, and also get me the latest news from for each company. So let's see what it does. So this is, the footprint of the agent. So this is the request you gave it. The agent now it has, decided on how to complete your request, it it basically performs three web searches in parallel. Okay, it also performs three web searches for the news in parallel. When the web searches are complete, the agent is gonna take all the information, synthesize it, and produce the outcome based on what you asked, right? So it's gonna take some time. And then you can also see over here, right? Every step, okay, every step, what's the input, what's the output. Okay, so you can, so when you design your agents, you can debug it to make sure the outcome is of reliable quality, and it is as per your need, right? So okay, I think it finished it. No, it's still working. So let's see, agent, see, it was thinking over here, right? So this is the user request. Then it was thinking. Then after thinking, it did some planning. Okay. And then it fired three tool queries to get the stock price, right? And then, and then, okay, this is the result of every tool. And then it was thinking again. What is this? Okay. And then it started to get the news for each company. It got the news, and then I think it's complete. Then it synthesized all the information back and produced the outcome to make it consumable by you. It's not finished yet. I think it will do it. No, it's finished. Here it is. I was clicking on the wrong thing. Okay. Yeah, so see, uh, here it is. So here is a comprehensive overview of the latest stock prices and news as of this date. Stock price, latest news, stock price, Google. So here it is, right? So now you know, right? Basically, the diagram you saw, and the way it is planning, reasoning, executing, and coming back. You can see it in action. And also, one good thing is you can interrupt it, right? So if it's a long running agent, right, and you think it is taking long time or it is going in the wrong direction, you can interrupt it and steer it in the right way, right? So that's that. This is the environment I spoke to you about. You can store all your credentials over here. So let's say you have some credentials for Salesforce or for Workday. You can store them over here, and then use them in the when you create an environment. So I hope you got overview of what's a managed agent, what is the objective, and what's a sandbox environment, and how it plans, reasons. Uh, you can create complex agents. Yeah, some good templates to start with, but you can just you can experiment, play, learn, and go from there. Hope you enjoy this. See you soon again.